Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
It's post-game reaction time. Auburn basketball is victorious inside Neville Arena by the score of 93-62. The Auburn Tigers win in easy fashion. We're going to react to it, talk about it, the score, the stats, the storylines, all that's coming up right now. War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we discuss the Auburn experience, which to us is all about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today here on this live reaction show. Auburn basketball's Game 3 of 2025-26 versus the Wofford Terriers, which is always an interesting name and an interesting choice in the mascot, although they've had some recency where they've been pretty good. Not tonight, though. The Auburn Tigers are way too much for them. 93-62. We're going to talk about it in full detail this evening. We'd love for you to start the show off with us by letting us know, for those of you that are watching live, especially in the YouTube portion of this, that you're here. Make sure that you post where you're watching from, all that stuff with a War Eagle. And we'd love for you to get started off. Maybe your first comment tonight is, who is your player of the game? Was it P-O-T-G? Yeah, player of the game. Let us know. Who's your player of the game that you're here hanging out with us. We want to get some reactions from you as well. Certainly, we're going to inform you, give you the best breakdown of what we saw here this evening with Auburn versus Wofford, but we also want to hear from you as well. Our agenda, as is the case for most nights here, will certainly walk through individual stats, team stats, and then the storylines amongst all of those. We'll try to hit the big three in the stat category. For those of you that have been here for a while, you know what those are. And we'll be looking for the stat that tells the tale of the tape. All that coming up right now. So let me just start off here. This is the final of 3 before Auburn gets into the meat of its schedule. Not to say that there won't be other teams coming up that Auburn should be able to handle, quote unquote, handle. You should never look past anybody. But this was that first 3 stretch game for the Auburn Tigers that was going to be a lot of just trying things out, figuring things out. Had a little bit of an interesting start with game 1. But all results are positive here. 3-game home stretch, 3-game win streak to start off the season. The Tigers are 3-0, 93-62, beating the Wofford Terriers inside Neville Arena. A lot of the same that we're going to talk about this evening that we've talked about before, with maybe a few others having some more stellar nights. So as I started off the show, let's ask you guys, who is your player of the game? Always it seems to be that you pick the person who is going to be, the high scorer or near to the high scorer, but take a little closer look at some of their stats. We're going to walk through that with you and maybe select your player of the game based off of that. And you can just give shout outs to whoever is here this evening. Whoever's here this evening can give out a shout out and let people know who they thought had some great nights. Some of you guys are already talking about that in the chat right now. I think let's start with the leading scorer tonight if we're going to start moving into the individual stats discussion here. Elijah Freeman tonight is your leading scorer, which is a nice change of pace. Just not because, trust me, we enjoy watching Keyshawn Hall do what Keyshawn Hall does, but it is nice to see someone else in game 3 be the leading scorer. Not by much, but Elijah Freeman, 21 points tonight, 7 for 12 from the field, 1 for 4 from the 3-point arc, made 6 of 8 free throws, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, only 2 personal fouls, no turnovers in 28 minutes of play tonight. He also gets to start tonight alongside Pettiford, Keyshawn Hall, Williams, Adams, and Philip Jovic. A little bit smaller of a lineup, and a lot of let me touch on that for a second. I've seen this commentary a lot, and we addressed it last game too. There's somehow this big narrative that's out there amongst the Auburn people that gets asked a lot, brought up a lot. It's like, what are we going to do without a quote unquote true big man? There is no such thing as a true big man. The true big man is what works for your system. Said that before. I'll say it again. But if you do look at the lineup, Sebastian Williams-Adams is 6'8". I believe Jovic is 6'9". So it would be on the smaller side of things. But again, against these opponents, it doesn't really matter as much. But obviously, that's a little bit different for people who are used to seeing Dylan Cardwell and Janai Broom out there together at the same time, which was really nice last year. Anyway, back to the individual stats. Elijah Freeman tonight, outstanding, 21 points. I mean, that's a great stat line, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists already. It's a great start to the individual stats discussion. Not far behind him, Keyshawn Hall, 20 points. Is that 3 games and 3 games and 20 points plus? I don't know what his, let's see if we can figure that out for you real quick on the fly. Keyshawn Hall, I'm looking at his season average right now, trying to find, points per game, 26.5. Is that correct? Man, that was through 2 games. So now let's see if it can give me, it doesn't have an updated. So the system that I'm looking at has it for the 2 games, 26.5. It'd be a little bit lower, but 20 points per game for Keyshawn Hall. But let's focus on the here and now for Mr. Hall. 20 points, 7 for 10 from the field, very efficient, 3 for 3 from the 3-point arc. I think someone brought this up earlier and I just missed it. Did Hall drop another 20 bomb? Yes. Yes, he did tonight. It's just becoming commonplace at this point. 100% from the free throw line, but only 3 for 3. So let's mention that. Auburn's free throw percentage has been saved very much by Mr. Keyshawn Hall, not only getting to the line, but being very efficient at the line. Tonight, he doesn't really get to the line at all comparatively. 3 of 3. Now, 100%, I'll take it. Double-double for Mr. Keyshawn Hall, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and he does have 4 turnovers tonight, which he was playing a little bit loose and free at times, like 1 personal foul, 27 minutes of play. So if you want to take, and we're answering the question of who's the player of the game in these situations, right? You always want to take the fullness, not just the point situation. So the points tonight goes to Elijah Freeman by 1, but that's an impressive stat line. 20 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Probably the only knock is the 4 turnovers on him. So you really have 2 strong candidates right there for best stat line and probably player of the game for Auburn in terms of, the high candidates for that particularly. So let us know in the chat, and we'll continue going through the rest of these guys. Who you think should be the player of the game. Your only other double-digit point person tonight is Mr. Kevin Overton, and he got a lot of those late. I think 2 of those 3-pointers came pretty late too. 13 points for him, 5 for 10 from the field, 3 for 7 from the 3-point arc. He doesn't attempt any free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 personal foul, 1 turnover, 24 minutes of play. So Kevin's gotten the start he didn't tonight. I wonder if that's more of just trying someone else out in a situation. Elijah has started before, I believe, at least in the exhibition games. So trying some different formats out, see who works best with it, whoever else. Kevin did not struggle coming off of the bench tonight. In fact, I think he probably thrived coming off the bench with 13 points. That's your top 3 scorers, the 3 in double digits: Elijah Freeman, Keyshawn Hall, Kevin Overton. Top scorers tonight, probably your best candidates overall for players of the game. Let's look at a few others here. Where's Tahad at? Tahad Pettiford with 9 points, 4 for 17 from the field. Not a great night shooting for him overall. He's 1 for 7 from the 3-point arc. He didn't attempt any free throws tonight. He does get 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He is close to the assist leader tonight. 2 personal fouls, 2 turnovers, 26 minutes of play. So this is a common theme that we have seen this stretch of games so far, that Tahad really hasn't been the prolific scorer that we're used to yet. I think people ask questions. Is there too much pressure on him? Is the weight of this being the leader of this team, the only remaining guy of last year, weighing down him? shooters go through times where their shots just not falling. We've heard it several times down the broadcast where he and several others are working day and night trying to continue to get their shot. Those that their shots are doing well, but the others getting their shots back to where they need to be, like Tahad. But he certainly has had a few games now where he has not been the most high percentage shooter. I don't expect that to be in any way, um, a common or a storyline that carries on throughout, but it certainly is an interesting one right now. And so maybe for some people out there who are worried, well, if Tahad doesn't go, will the team go? You got Keyshawn Hall leading the way. Others have stepped up. We've seen Emeka Oporum step up in previous games scoring wise. We've seen several others, Elijah Freeman tonight alongside Keyshawn Hall, Elijah Freeman the way. So while Tahad is not doing what we're used to Tahad doing, others are stepping up. 9 points tonight for him. Tied with him is Caden Magwood, who got a few at the end there too. 4 for 6 from the field, 1 for 3 from the three-point arc, that last one coming late for him this evening. Now, the rest of your scoring tonight, Sebastian Williams-Adams with 8 points, 4 for 4 from the field. Philip Jovic, 7, 2 for 4 from the field. He had 3 of 6 attempts at free throws, 6 rebounds for him. Remember, Mr. Jovic nearly got a double-double last game. I think it was 10 points and 9 rebounds, or 9 points and 10 rebounds. Maybe that was it, actually. I think he had actually the number in rebounds and just needed an extra point. So he's been pretty good for that amount so far this game. And then the rest of your scores that we haven't touched on yet would be Mr. Abdul Bashir with 2, Emeka Oporum with 3, Blake Muselik with 0, and then Trapp got in at the end of the game with 0 as well. I do continue to love how much we're seeing Muselik get an opportunity to play. And something I didn't even think about, Simon Walker, most of you will know, that was part of this class, this past signing class. A lot of it were excited to see what he could do as a prolific shooter. He's been hampered by some injuries, apparently had a setback in practice this week too. So it's provided an opportunity for Blake Muselik to be able to come and play a little bit more, get more minutes than maybe you typically would. And I think he's done, based on what we've expected out of him, pretty decent job. So continuing to give him a shout out. A little bit back down to earth performance for Oporum tonight. Bashir still trying to get his shot going for Auburn as well. So here's the question that I beg of myself and just in general. What happens if Keyshawn Hall maintains? You still get some pretty good performances from whether it's Elijah Freeman, Sebastian Williams-Adams, Kevin Overton, Jovic. What happens when Tahad Pettiford alongside them gets going? What happens when Abdul Bashir finds his shot alongside them? When Keyshawn Murphy gets healthy? That's a big thing. That's a big question to wonder, and what this team's potential might be able to do. So as I just addressed, Keyshawn Murphy doesn't play tonight, and that was supposedly the plan all along from, I think, some comments from Coach earlier in the week that he could play if he needed to, but won't play unless he absolutely needs to. Let's see what you guys are saying about some of the individuals while we wrap that up. This is from John. I will stick with Hall for my player of the game because he's the only guy in 30 years to hit 20 or more in all 3 of his first games. Is that a legit fact, John? If that's a legit fact that they posted on the broadcast, or just something we're just shooting from the hip on, either way, it's cool. I hope it's really true. WT says Hall was close to a triple-double tonight, 4 assists away. I don't know that I would call that close, but certainly closer than most people get. I will take what you're saying here, WT, and with his consistency at point scoring so far, and this is his second double-double tonight, or that's in the early season, or maybe he had one in the preseason. He's probably your best candidate this year so far from what we've seen to get something like that. He can share the ball well. He can shoot the ball well. He can go after it. He calls himself the big guard, and I think he lives up to that billing overall. So great night for all of the individuals. Everybody who got the significant minutes got points tonight. Better games for others here and there, but overall pretty good. I thought we were supposed to score 95. Is that a joke because we had 95 the last 2 games? I think that's actually correct. Just too shy. Now, if we make some free throws to improve our free throw status, we'll get there in a second. That would have been 95. So apparently that's the high water mark for us right now. WT says we got 2 out of the 3 big markers. We'll get to those team stats in just 1 second here. And then it looks like we have confirmed some double checking going on that is a quick fact. He's the first Auburn Tiger in 30 years to hit 20 or more in the first 3 games. Need we say more? I mean, that's outstanding. That's just outstanding. Good start for the individuals here for Auburn basketball. All right, before we switch over to team stats, we'll keep talking about the storylines, but if there's somebody that needs a shout out, a play, a performance, even if it's like some constructive criticism, some questions you have about a player, bring them up and we'll certainly talk about them as they're appropriate on our live portion of this show. First half scoring 40-22, second half scoring 53-40. Both teams cranked it up a notch, probably a little less defense being played. Results in your score of 93-62. Auburn wins by 31 points tonight. Not as close to 40 as our last game, but certainly just completely putting this one away and putting this one to bed for Auburn basketball versus Wofford. We are in the team stats discussion portion now. We are looking for the big 3. WT already gave you a hint at some of that. We will look at those and focus on them first, but we're going to also be looking for the stat that tells the tale of the tape. So if you already know it, if you have an idea of it, go ahead and share it in the chat. We'll talk about it once we get to that point. But let's look at the big 3 first off. In my opinion, these are the most important stats of any team stats out there. You can disagree with me, but you'd be wrong. Free throws, turnovers, and rebounds. Tonight, free throws, 80% for Wofford. Now, they only shoot 8 of 10. Auburn had 12 of 18, so 67% for them. Not a great night overall. An okay night for free throws for Auburn, but they lose that category. We emphasize these because if you usually win these categories, you're in a pretty good position to win the game if you are taking over those categories, unless something else is just so drastically bad or different. So that's the first one. Number 2 of the big 3, turnovers, 13 for Wofford and 11 for Auburn. I believe our first game was 11. The second one was like 8 or 9. So a little bit of a drop down, but back up again. You see this a lot, especially in games like this at the end of the game where things are being a little bit more loose, free, and fast. Everyone's just having fun. The game's in hand. People get a little bit more careless because they're taking things maybe not as seriously as they should. That's probably some of that's attributed to that, but that's certainly not where coach would like them to be. And I would imagine he's pointing that out. 11 turnovers is definitely not, double-digit turnovers is not something that you want to see. But Auburn does win that one by the skin of their teeth. More Wofford turnovers this evening. Total rebounds, complete and utter domination. 27-48 Auburn wins. So 2 of the big 3 go Auburn's way. One of those significantly pretty much tells you why things happened the way they did. We'll look at the rest of the stats, though. Defensive ones are in Auburn's favor. So are the offensive rebounds. Just a dominant night for Auburn without their biggest true big man, as some people say, and are worried about him not playing as much. But Auburn gets the big 3 tonight. Looking at the rest of the team stats, 39% from the field for Wofford, 51% for Auburn. 1 out of every 2 Auburn's making at home. That's what you expect to see, what you hope to see. 33% three-point shooting for Auburn tonight. I mean, it's 1 out of every 3. It's kind of average, but at home you hope you're able to do that. Wofford is only 24% this evening. So they definitely don't win in the shooting category except for free throws, but they didn't really have that many attempts. Auburn wins and more than doubles up in points off of turnovers. Second chance points is 7-20 in Auburn's favor. Bench points, and here's the interesting thing here. Wofford 37 to Auburn's 28 off the bench. So let's take a look at that and see what happened there. You've got 11 for Watley off the bench for Wofford, and then another one with Ortega with 9. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense there. Off the bench for Auburn tonight is Kevin Overton, who really powered that, who's been a starter before. So it probably could have been even more in the favor of Overton if he had been a starter this evening. Elijah Freeman, though, had himself a game, and if he was coming off the bench, he would have probably still been feeling it tonight. But that's something that's very interesting that's in the favor by almost 10 bench points there for Wofford. Rest of the stats, points in the paint. Auburn wins, but not by a ton. Fast break points, Auburn wins by 1. Blocks is in Auburn's favor, 5-9. Steals, 7-11, Auburn's favor. Assists, 13-16. So Wofford shared the ball pretty well, too. Auburn was in control the majority of the game. Lead time for them, they didn't lead for 43 seconds. So all of that to be said, aside from really one stat, because I'm going to throw out the free throw thing because they only shot 10 times from the free throw line and made 8 of 10. I hope you can do that as a college basketball team. Hope. Really, the only outlier is the bench points tonight for that. Otherwise, Auburn just completely wins or dominates or just at least gets the edge in the majority of that. So does anybody have a pick of what is the big stat of the game that tells the tale of the tape? I've got a few. There's not one that just like goes, wow, that's it. It might be just flat out rebounding. So let's look at that again. Total rebounds, 27-48, 20 differential there. That's pretty significant. I was leaning towards maybe the second chance points, but I think it's just that simple. Auburn was bigger and had more desire on rebounds. I think that's probably your big stat of the game, with the 27-48 differential for Auburn versus Wofford. So there's your team stats. All of the big three included in that. We have walked through the individual stats. We have walked through some of the storylines. Surely we have missed some things. So if there's anything left, please do bring it up. But while you're thinking about that, bringing up some other commentary, some of that we'll hit tonight as we round out our show with you guys. I want to give you a couple reminders of things. Keep in mind, we do these throughout the year on post-game shows for basketball. These are probably my favorite of the post-game shows that we do. I really enjoy talking about basketball, the stories and the stats of them. So hope that you'll join us on the regular, especially when we get into a more regular pace when we hit SEC play. It'll be twice a week of me here in front of you, hanging out, talking basketball with you, which is always a lot of fun. Coming up for the rest of the week, I don't have any cue cards ready for you, but what we've got for you looking ahead is Auburn Family Night tomorrow night. Join us for that. It'll be a lot of fun. Call-in show. Talk about anything that you want to in the space. I would imagine to be very involved about who's the next head coach and for football, all that kind of stuff, and looking ahead to Houston and some other things that are out there. Auburn Family Night, it's at 9 Eastern time every Wednesday evening. We will have a post-game and reaction show for the next Auburn basketball game, which I do believe is Houston. If I don't have my days crossed and wired incorrectly, I might actually have them wired incorrectly. Just trying to do this on the fly and make sure I actually pick up on it. Yes, that'll be Sunday, actually. So we'll have a very busy day Sunday. A post-game reaction show right after it in the afternoon, and then the Auburn Experience live podcast recording for episode 150 will be available for you as well at 9 Eastern time. So that's a good perspective of what you have to look forward to. Please do get involved with us all throughout the week here at E2C Network. All right. What were you guys saying in the chat? Let's cover a few things here. This is from John. I think one big thing we can improve on is ball handling. A good bit of guys kept losing control of it. It'd be interesting to see. Let's look at that. Let's take a look at that, John. Turnovers tonight. Now, turnovers can be other things besides bad ball handling, but Keyshawn Hall tonight doubles up anybody else with 4. Todd Pettiford had 2. Everybody else had 1 that had a turnover tonight. So, but it's pretty rampant across the whole team. Caden Magwood, Elijah Freeman, Meko Porum, those are the guys with significant minutes that didn't have a turnover tonight. So, certainly when you look at a team like Wofford, you wonder, does that play into it? Are you playing a little bit more loose and free, thus trying a few extra things, taking people a little less serious, things like that? I mean, certainly based off of tonight, you could say that could probably improve. This is from WT. Jovic looks to be getting more and more comfortable with his team. It kind of makes sense, right? You give somebody a little bit of time to get here, get acclimated, acquainted. He got here the latest out of anybody, and so it's going to take him a little time to accustom to the game itself and how his team is going to operate, not much less that he arrives and his head coach retires. So there's been a lot going on for Filip Jovic, and there was a lot of early criticism of him. I'm like, y'all just need to hold up just a little bit, but certainly looked a little bit more comfortable tonight. Yes, the big stat is the score, of course, but we're looking for all the different things here this evening. Anything else to wrap up our time here on our post-game reaction show, Auburn versus Wofford? We have done it all, the stats, the individual, and the team, most of the stories. I think most of you all are ready for just the next game. Let's be honest. That next one coming up is the big thing, Auburn versus Houston. Everybody's ready for it. It's going to be exciting to see Auburn truly tested against one of the nation's currently best. And we know how exciting a launching point that Auburn-Houston game was. See what I did there? If those of you know, you know. Didn't intend that one. That was, in some ways, for the team and for the interest of the team as well. So this one's going to tell you a lot in terms of early on what the makeup of this team is, how they battle against more challenging opponents. My suspicion is that they will run into a little bit of adversity against a very talented team, with Kelvin Sampson being their head coach. Love him as a head coach. So a lot to look forward to the rest of the season. But for now, we celebrate it. 93-62. The Auburn Tigers are victorious over Wofford, pushing their 25-26 record to 3-0, undefeated in Neville Arena to start the year with that 3-0 as well. Our big stat of the game was that rebounding differential, 48-27 in Auburn's favor, and our player of the game, at least the one I'm going to select with some couple of choices there, Elijah Freeman, 21 points, 6 for 8 from the field, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Outstanding play by him tonight, and several others, including Keyshawn Hall. Thank you so much for joining us, being part of our post-game streams, and we hope to see you here on our live portion throughout the year and checking in with us on the audio replays whenever you can throughout the year as well. As we go, I want to remind you of a couple things that the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things. 2, do justly, to love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.